Our guest today is Robin Duke, and Robin is going to be with us at the Highlands Christmas Shindig this coming Saturday, November 27th at 7:30 in the evening. We'd like to thank Robin for joining us today. Thanks so much for doing this, Robin. It's lovely to have you with us.
Oh, it's lovely to be here, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're certainly delighted that someone of your stature and well-knownness is going to be able to join us at the Shindig. And I must tell everyone, it was so very kind of you to offer your assistance to Fuel for Warmth, because it is an important thing that they do. And we thank you kindly for reaching out and offering to give us a hand.
Oh, well, it's been my pleasure. I have to say, since COVID, I have been living in Halliburton, and I love it. And I have gotten so much out of, I would say Canoe FM has saved my life. Radio Bingo has kept me going week to week. And I just, it's a way for me to do what I can for the people who have been doing, in Halliburton, who have been so gracious and kind and, open arms and all that. So at least you. Oh, my heavens.
That's very kind of you to say. And I know all of our organizing committee are just thrilled that you're going to be part of the program. I wanted to start by just asking you a little bit about your young life. When you were a youngster, and you were born in St. Catharines, is that correct?
No, Mike, that's on the internet. I was born in Toronto.
You are in Toronto, okay. Because I know you went to Burnham.
Change that. I've tried to change it, but it's out there, and I can't seem to get it changed. I change it back to Toronto, and then it goes back to St. Catharines. So somebody wants me to have been born in St. Catharines.
It would appear that way, wouldn't it? So as a Toronto gal, I know you ended up going to Burnham Thorpe Collegiate Institute, as they put it in those days. And I wonder, as a youngster, even before you got through to high school, did you have a flair for comedy, for humor? Were you a bit of a cut up at home or in class?
Well, I don't know if I wasn't so much a cut up in class, but certainly at home. My dad had a great sense of humor. My parents loved to laugh. The TV, I remember, just standing in front of the TV when Jack Benny was on and laughing, and not understanding a word he was saying, but, knowing he was funny, or just laughing at his facial expressions or whatever. So it started, I think, with my family just having a good sense of humor and loving to laugh. And then in high school, I met up with my best friend, my BFF, Catherine O'Hara. We sat at the back of the class in grade 9. And, I guess we would get distracted. Catherine was able to do impersonations of people like James Mason and Paul Lynde, and what 14-year-old do you know that can do like spot on impersonations of these people? Anybody knows who James Mason is now, but oh my heavens, she was funny, and we were fast friends. We were fast friends.
Did you go into the drama stream at school, like were you in school plays and doing skits?
We were allowed. We had a wonderful drama teacher. Her name was Mrs. Eagle, and we had the May show. She was our drama teacher, and she would just let everybody do whatever they wanted. So Catherine and I wrote plays. We performed in plays. We gave each other awards for our plays. So yes, we were always writing and performing all through high school.
Well, it came naturally that eventually you would end up at Second City, having a stint there. That seemed to be the go-to place for talented people back in the time, and it certainly was a special time of life there, wasn't it?
Oh, it really was, because Toronto was just sort of coming alive then with arts and culture, and then this second city came, and it just, I mean, I think it changed the face of comedy. The people that started there, John Candy, Eugene Levy, Joe Flaherty, Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, Valerie Bromfield, Jane Eastwood. That was the cast that I would see. And then Catherine got into the company, and then I followed, somewhat shortly after. But it was the kind of comedy that we'd never seen before. It was smart, funny, political, satirical, referenced. It was, and when I saw it for the first time, I just knew right away that that's what I wanted to do. It's like this is right up my alley.
Now,
So,
as you did that, and obviously we're looking at other opportunities in your stage career, you ended up on SCTV,
mhm.
and you were there for quite a long spell. How does one get found for a program like SCTV? How did that come about?
Well, it was just simply I was from Second City. There wasn't a lot of female comedians, so they just picked, who was ever been at Second City performing. I was sort of the next in line. So they picked me, but as I said, this was all new. This type of comedy, this point of view of comedy, and I would say Joe Flaherty was the genesis of it all. His sense of humor, his sense of looking at the world, his perspective on his satirical point of view. And so I always thought if you made Joe laugh, it was a good thing. And I think it was that, Joe was the one that auditioned everybody for the Toronto stage.
Ah,
He'd come up from Chicago with Bernie Solins, who was the owner of Second City at the time, and Joe came up and they auditioned people and he chose them, he and Bernie. So it was his eye, his sensibility.
as
So,
we're talking, I still have that mental image of Joe Flaherty as Count Dracula, and some of the hilarity that went on, and I can bet through that you all became fast friends.
well, absolutely. Well, yes, I mean, so, you do, because what's happened, or you have this common denominator, what would it be? This shared history with each other. And certainly it is about the shared laughter, just being able to make each other laugh, and the silliness, the openness that's required to do this kind of comedy, because you are drawing on your own life experience, and uh, to do characters or to come up with premises. So it's just this shared sensibility that you have.
As you went through your comedy career performing, were you also writing during this period as well? Were you contributing to content for SCTV?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's our training at Second City. The theater improv, what we see of improv now is not what improv used to be. What we're seeing now is Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's a great show, but it's not the improv that I was trained on. It's that kind of show is, it's jokes, it's one-upmanship,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah,
what I was trained in was scenic writing on your feet. So you would be telling stories on your feet,
yeah,
and
yeah.
getting laughs as you went along. So that's what I'm trying to teach my students right now. So it's a big ship to turn around, but
I'm sure. I can imagine the terror of Second City, of being up there. And I know there were times when, people from the audience would suggest topics,
Oh, yeah.
and suddenly you're faced with, oh my gosh, I've got to make something funny out of bananas or whatever.
Well, we would go backstage, we would get these suggestions from the audience, and then we would go backstage for 20 minutes, get drunk. No, the audience would go out and have a few drinks. And we would come up with premises, based on these suggestions, which the categories were fears, occupations, current events, and I can't remember what the other one was, what the other category was. But you would go backstage and you'd sort of piece them together. You'd say,
Wow.
I'm working on a character who owns a dress store. So let's put that under, shopping. So we would go out and we would try these scenes based on premises we'd come up with during those 20 minutes, ideas for scenes. So
Now
we
that
had
the
to
experience
develop.
of Second City and then SCTV, was all of that really helpful when you got the invitation to come and be a part of Saturday Night Live?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I was hired at Saturday Night Live just as a performer. But by the second year, I had written more than a lot of the writers who had been hired and had gotten more sketches on air. By the end of the first year, that I submitted all the pieces that I'd got on to the show to the producer to get hired as a writer, and he really didn't have any other choice but to hire me as a writer. So in the second and third year that I was there, I wrote as well as performed. So it was just a case of how to, the writers were writing, you'd be cast as the mother or the hooker or the nun and all these, typical
Yeah.
guys' ideas of what women should play. And I was bored. I needed to write. I needed to come up with something that interested me and that I could showcase myself in. And so
Well, that was
that's what I
a
did.
good, yeah, it was a good run, and you had some great characters as a part of Saturday Night Live, and of course, everyone will remember you as Wendy Weiner as
Yes.
one of the main characters.
Oh,
But
yeah, it
I'm sure that was a great experience for you.
was.
Yeah.
It really taught me how to write quickly, to have an idea and know how to write it down in a sketch, into a sketch in a very short period of time. Working under pressure, getting things up and going in a week was quite challenging. And I loved all of that. I really enjoyed the writing part of it. And then I ended up writing for other people, which I loved to do. Like, I loved writing for Eddie Murphy. I thought that was, nobody could deliver better than Eddie.
Mhm.
So that was always a fun thing.
When I think of all that you've done in those features that we've just talked about, but along the way, and I guess the business is like that. It's you have to stay nimble on your feet at all times. You did movies. You've been a part of a number of movies. You've done animation features, children's animation series. You've done the writing. It becomes quite a master of many things as you see the years go by. And now here you are this year, coming out of your visit with Schitt's Creek. By the time that arrived, you must have felt that, wow, this is fun to see old friends and fun to have all the tools of my trade at my beck and call. You must have felt pretty good at that point.
Oh, yes, it was fun to go back. Unfortunately, I didn't have any scenes with Catherine or Eugene. No, I think I had one scene with Eugene. That's right. But most of my scenes were with Daniel, who I've known since he was a baby. So they had to keep cutting tape when we were shooting our scenes because I kept calling him Daniel. And they'd go, cut. And then he'd go, oh, his name's David Robin. It's, oh, yeah. But I just kept seeing, little baby Daniel's face in front of me. So I couldn't, I called him Daniel.
Now, as you were doing those episodes for Schitt's Creek, was there any sense of what a worldwide phenomenon the show would become by the time it was all over?
No idea. Yeah. No idea. It's just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And God love them, Dan has just made it so successful, and he's so successful. It's fantastic, what they've done. Just
some of the younger members of the cast, they were truly excellent in what they did. And I see, is it Annie is on TV commercials now?
Yes.
and still as lovely as ever. But it must have been good to be around old friends for that period of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Once again, you're just laughing. You're just sitting, and not while you're working, but you sit back and you're watching other scenes being shot, and you're just sitting, laughing, having fun.
There's a lot of people who would envy that kind of a job. Being able to sit back and laugh and enjoy other people. How wonderful. How wonderful.
Well, Eugene's wife, Deb Devine, who is the funniest person in that entire family, I have to say. She's a good friend of mine. And she has always said, which I just love, go where the laughs are. It's the best advice.
Amen.
Life.
Amen.
Just go where the laughs are. And that's what I've been able to do.
Now you're currently teaching at Humber College, and you're teaching writing, comedy writing specifically?
Oh, yes. I teach, I've been there full time since 2004.
Whoa.
And full-time faculty. Professor Duke is what I'd like to be called, Mike. No, where'd you go there? Oh, I just lost you. Oh, no, I've got to decline that right away. Yes, so I've been teaching there since 2004. I've taught sketch writing and performing sketch comedy. I've taught improv. I'm teaching acting. I'm teaching improv for writers. So I've taught a lot. I've been teaching a long time.
Well, and now you get to watch all these fresh young faces.
I do.
And to see how their lives and their careers start to go forth. Yeah.
It's really been a long haul for me to get comfortable with teaching, I have to say. But now I just love it. I love the students. I love being around them. And once again, at the end of the day, or at the end of the class, you're laughing. You should be laughing and having fun.
I know over the past year and a bit, you spent a lot of time in the Halliburton Highlands, and we're doing your classes virtually right from your cottage in the Highlands.
I was, and I loved it. I love teaching on Zoom. I think and I teach improv on Zoom. I taught acting on Zoom, and I think that what it does is it focuses the students. And in improv, I'm able to give them the history of improv and the theory behind improv, which helps them understand why I'm teaching what I'm teaching and not teaching them how to make jokes, how to let the jokes come out of what it is you've created.
Well, each year that we do the Highlands Christmas Shindig, and this will be our 8th year that we've done this.
Congratulations.
Yes. And in that time, I think We're now in excess of $200,000 that we've raised on behalf of Fuel for Warmth to help those in need during the winter. And boy, oh boy, there
That's
have been some incredible stories that we've been able to, shall we say, cool down a little bit by helping them and make sure that they don't go cold during the winter. So, yeah, it's been a wonderful run, and you'll get to meet some wonderful local talent. I think you'll be amazed. It truly is a county of great talent, great spirit, and of course, Penelope and Dame Beatrice, who have been the ongoing characters for those 8 years. You may have a little bit of improv advice for them at the end of it all.
Well, yes, I'm hoping that my good friend Wendy Kurtz from Schitt's Creek, from the Blouse Barn in Schitt's Creek, will be coming along and giving them some fashion tips.
Well, trust me, they'll sure be in need of it. Robin, thanks for doing this today. This has been lovely to meet you, and we'll so look forward to seeing you on Saturday night.
Okay, good. I do too.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Our guest today has been Robin Duke, and Robin will be joining us at the Highlands Christmas Shindig this Saturday evening at 7:30. And don't forget, you can watch it on YouTube, Facebook, or at fuelforwarmth.com. And you'll be able to make donations to Fuel for Warmth online. We hope you'll join us.